welcome to another episode of Quotes and Mirrors podcast.
What happened? You almost forgot what it was called?
Nah, I didn't.
Okay.
All right.
Welcome.
Technology is just being stupid today, but
man, that's what technology does. It's meant to confuse you and have somebody else figure it out, and then charge you for the answer to the question.
Yeah, that's stupid.
That's how it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah. So you can tell people why, you can tell them what, but you got to sell them how.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
big market for that.
Welcome back. It is Quotes and Mirrors. We are episode does not matter. We are
47. It's season 3. This is season 3. That's why there was a 3-week hiatus.
That's what it was.
Yeah, this is season 3.
Word up. S3, S1, E1, E1. S3, E1. There we go. Cool. Welcome back. Quotes and Mirrors. I am Uncommonterry, and he's going to make me call him Relic since that's what's on the screen.
Oh, it does say Relic, doesn't it? I was about to say
Relic.
Oh, yeah, I'm Relic.
Right.
Please don't call me that, though.
I can't really fix that. Yeah. I think T is fine. So
yeah, T is perfect.
We are back in the family. We miss each other just a little bit. We're gonna talk to y'all in a minute. But hey, man, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
All right, I'm good, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good
to be us.
That's true. All the time. Yeah, no doubt. So welcome to Quotes and Mirrors. Anybody that is here that has not heard us before. What we do is we pick a quote and then we reflect on it. Hence the name, Quotes and Mirrors. Y'all probably figured that out. For those of y'all who didn't, we're going to talk about y'all off air. So,
right. Hey, keep talking to them. Go ahead.
Oh, he ran away. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do tonight, well, actually what we do every time, is we go back and forth. And we pick the quote. He pick a quote. I pick a quote. That's what back and forth mean, right? So tonight was my turn. You going to sit there and moisturize.
I had to go get it. Yo, I am not about to sit here without my lip therapy, yo. That's what I had to go get, yo.
Yo, I would tell them, I would remind them you was light skinned, but they saw it. It's cool. But yeah, we go back and forth and we pick a quote for us to reflect on. And this time it was my turn. So if you can see the quote, if you can't, we're going to read it to you, but it's running across the bottom of the screen. If you can't, hold on. Oh, yeah. Is that what it says? Was it, if you can't be that interesting without cursing? I thought it was, yeah, that's it. Yeah, right out the joint. Cool. Okay. My bad. Me the second question. All right. The quote is, if you can't be interesting without profanity, then face it. You're just not that interesting. This is a quote by Mr. Michael. I thought it was Hyatt. Is it Wyatt?
Did I put the wrong thing?
Yeah, you put a Wyatt. It's Hyatt.
I don't want him to curse me out. Let me fix that.
I don't think he will. He's a pretty interesting person.
No, we'll see. We will see.
But yeah, Mr. Michael Hyatt is an author. Actually, he's done some pretty decent books. CEO and the founder of Michael Hyatt and Company. He writes books on leadership, which I like. I like these type of books. I like the self-help, non-fiction, progressive, push you forward type of books. So this right here, I don't even remember why I was looking at this. I think it was because I heard a lady curse at her child in the parking lot. And that's what made me look up kind of quotes concerning profanity. Okay. So, yeah, that's definitely, if I remember correctly, that's what inspired that. And we're going to talk about that too, because that's one of the things I kind of wanted to bring up. But first things first, we got to get your initial take on the quote. If you are not that interested without profanity, then face it, sir, you are just not that interesting. What say you, T? Relic? Oh, okay. Curse at the deaf people. All right. So,
I've heard this numerous times throughout the years, man. I've heard people say that, if you can't, I think I've heard it in different ways though. Like I've heard people say, if you can't articulate yourself, if you can't make a point, or if you can't express yourself without cursing, then you are not intelligent, something to that effect. And
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
yeah, it's stupid.
So you don't feel that curse words are evidence of ignorance or limited vocabulary?
No, as a matter of fact, it's an extension of your vocabulary. It's
Extended to what? How is it pushing you forward? How is it progressive?
because look, here's the thing. I have like my vocabulary without curse words. It is what it is. But then we have an overflow because we have curse words also.
Okay, so you need curse words.
You said unique or I need?
Do you need curse words?
No, I just prefer.
Oh, hey, sorry about that.
For instance, what the fuck was that? See, you see why I need them?
That was a song saying that something has to change.
Yo, that is hilarious.
So, my bad for not turning that on silent, by the way. But so you don't need curse words necessarily.
Nah, I don't need them.
All right, so you think that you're interesting without curse words?
Yeah, I'm definitely interesting without curse words.
I'm sorry. You're more interesting with curse words. That's what I meant to say.
No, I'm just as interesting with or without curse words.
You're just as interesting with or without curse words.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I got a couple, because this is really just to kind of start the conversation, right? So I got a couple questions in reference to the curse words. All right. So first one, what is a good age to start cursing?
Well, let me tell you a little story. Let me tell you how I started cursing.
And maybe I shouldn't say good. Maybe I should say acceptable.
Oh, acceptable and good. Okay, that's two different answers.
They are.
So, because when I first started, it wasn't acceptable. I think we were definitely in elementary school, but I'm gonna tell you what we would do to try to make it not so bad.
Right.
We would put a prefix on it. I know it sounded really stupid. So we would say something like "reshit."
Wow. And what exactly would that mean, sir?
It just means that the curse word itself is shit, right, but reshit is not a curse word. So
or a word at all.
Exactly.
So
exactly. So we were like, I am sick of this reshit. Like it was.
So y'all was so smart that not only did you not curse, you didn't actually say anything.
Exactly.
Interesting. I never heard that. I ain't gonna front. Yo,
you said interesting. You said it's interesting.
I did, but you also didn't curse. So
Touche. Touche. You in this round. Okay.
Yo, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, right. I think me and my boy William are probably the only two idiots in the world that did that. That's why you've never heard that.
I mean, I can't even imagine like how robust that actually. Like, what's the room? Where's the room for that? I got the re part, but what other prefix could you?
Oh, we just threw it in anything. That was the first thing that came to my mind just now.
Right,
but we would just come up with anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I ain't gonna front. That actually is pretty interesting. I'm just saying. I mean, given there wasn't actually profanity by your own words, or not words, but that's because I've never heard that before. Where now you might recall where I called a teacher. Mind you, I was 16, 17, where I called my teacher a maternal fornicator. Oh, well. I mean, it translates into French apparently, but
right.
but I didn't actually curse. You know what I mean?
Right.
And as a matter of fact, it was a bit more interesting to come up with the other than curse words like maternal fornicator or you know, things of that nature. So, I would say this. Now, I'm not saying I won't say that you're not that interesting if you if you can't be interesting with it. Hold on. You know what? Let me back up. If you can't be interesting without profanity. Okay. Okay. So I didn't even, I don't think I really paid so much attention to the can't part. So this is saying that you need profanity to be interesting. Or if you need profanity to be interesting, then you're not actually interesting. Now, you know what that makes me think about right away? Stand-up comedy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it makes me think about right away. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't listen to a cat that just cusses every third, fourth word through the whole set. It's not interesting, even a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I can't name one right now because obviously it's not something that I'm gonna. I don't watch the whole show. I don't really remember them. Now they curse. Some of them curse, and I can get it. I can rock with it. It's still funny, but I prefer a clean comic, to be honest with
Yeah, I don't. I'm not. I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like with music, I mean, some stuff. Like I love, my R&B. I'm cool, with that. But if there is like, if there is profanity in the music that I listen to, whether it's R&B, hip hop, whatever,
you.
I don't want the clean version.
Well, you don't want the clean version in that you don't want the edited version, right? But are you also saying if the person is capable of writing the song without the profanity that you don't want that version?
It depends on what the song is about because I feel like there's certain times the curse word is the exclamation point. The curse word is what brings things together. Like I just I words have meaning, and you can say something like, put it this way, I'm gonna beat you up or I'm gonna fuck you up. Like one is a little more powerful. So like it's
I mean, I'm not gonna say that they don't have a place, um, but like you were talking about music, like for instance, I don't think J. Cole needs to curse. He does. He doesn't like create. It's not littered in curse words,
Mhm.
but I don't think he needs to curse. I think to me, every time I hear it, it takes away from the song. Now, go ahead.
So I think that this quote, I think for Michael Hyatt and for you or for anybody else who thinks that, I agree. I think that it's true. It holds true for you. It just doesn't hold true for me. But I can see how a person who doesn't necessarily want to hear the profanity, that when they start hearing it, especially if it's excessive, I can understand how the person who's using the profanity becomes less interesting. I get that
Mm-hmm.
for that person, for somebody in your shoes, but for
Right.
me, it just doesn't do. Yo, Samuel L. Jackson, bro, no, come on, seriously now, Samuel, like I can't, like I want my Samuel L. Jackson to be Samuel L. Jackson. Like I don't want no clean Samuel L. What dog? No, no.
So, okay.
That's
So,
part of what makes him so interesting.
I was going to say, so what you're saying is he wouldn't be Samuel L. Jackson without his emphatic cursing.
No, he would still be Samuel L. Jackson because he's still a remarkable actor.
Okay.
However, that's his signature.
I wonder how he feels about that.
He would probably say you fucking right. Like that's
I mean, I I can't imagine. I don't know whether or not that's what his response would be at all. But I guess, well, let me say this because he can have a signature without it putting him in a box, right? It
Mhm.
don't have to typecast him, so he could actually do that as a signature. But I just so I'm even as a kid, cursing just didn't really like. I just wasn't really interested all of the time, right? Or should I say as much as like my peers when I was a kid, I wasn't interested because Also, because it wasn't around me. That's another thing. It doesn't have to be a particular interest. But my father didn't curse. My mother didn't curse. I'm in church all the time. Nobody's cursing in front of me. They might curse when they go home. Pops could have cursed when he went in the bedroom. I don't know. I doubt that very seriously.
I doubt
But
it too.
but I didn't come up where that was commonplace,
Mhm.
right? And so I definitely didn't want to hear it like when NWA came out.
Mhm.
I'm like, I mean, the music was, I don't even know, because I really like Ren better than anybody. But but
Really?
Ren was the dopest of that whole joint. You ask me, but because he had the more intelligent rhyme. But when they came out, I was listening to Rakim. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Okay.
And see, that's the other thing, because you could have somebody that don't curse, and then so you got Will Smith on one hand, and then you
Mhm.
got Rakim on the other hand. Those two are not going to be in a concert together just because they don't curse. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yo,
But
his last album, Will Smith's last album, he was cursing. By the
oh
way.
yeah, he got busy on this last album because
Yeah.
apparently he talked to Kendrick, and Kendrick told him to just be his authentic self instead of the Cosby kid that he was trying to be, or not
Mhm.
trying to be, that he wanted to represent. The whole time when he was really kind of up and coming. And I mean, that being said, I won't say that curse words are necessary, but like you said, they mean things. They do have a place. So um, because they can be very inflammatory. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You want a situation to escalate really quick. Yeah, you go ahead and add some curse words. You want your wife to stop listening to you. Yeah, go ahead and add some curse words.
That ain't gonna stop from listening to me. It's gonna be more cuss words. That's what she's gonna join in. Although I don't curse at her.
Well,
So
it's cool. Well, let me. Okay, let me. I digress. Let me read. Let me delete that statement. Not that she's gonna stop listening. You want to change the point of the conversation? Yeah, go ahead and curse. Oh, we cursing now.
it depends on the relationship. But
I mean, if you cursing at somebody, and I mean, I'm not talking about just cursing while you talking to them.
mhm.
I'm talking about cursing at somebody. I think we'll be interested to see the relationship that doesn't change the trajectory of that conversation. But um, like I said, with J. Cole, I feel like when he curses, it just takes away from it. And it didn't have to be that. Like, just go ahead and rhyme the way you rhyme. You're an intelligent cat. Just rhyme. Just let it rock. But I mean, like I said, I kind of like I don't want my children to curse. I know they will, right? But I don't want them to curse. But I do want them to have the, what's the word? Like, the energy that comes with it. You know what I mean? Because you don't whisper, "Shut the f up." Not really. You know what I mean? You want that to be heard. You know what I mean? Because the whole point is to kind of elevate the situation, ignite it a little bit. But
I don't
I
know.
would just,
I think I've whispered it before.
huh?
I think I've whispered it before
What's the point?
because I was trying to get through to the person, and I realized that elevating my voice when I was matching them, it was I wasn't getting my point across until I said, "Shut the fuck up." It changed everything. It changed
Yo,
everything.
okay. I can't argue with that. I can't. I can't. I was afraid for whoever you're speaking to. Just, you know what I mean? So, okay, but let me ask. So let me ask you this: when is there a time where you purposely don't curse?
Oh yeah, in front of my mama. Yeah.
Okay.
There are definitely times, but in a lot of business situations, I'm not cursing in front of my, like when I'm teaching classes or whatever. I'm not cursing. Well, it depends on the class. Depends on the class. If I'm teaching a nutrition class or even an exercise class, something like that, I'm not cursing. But well, it depends on the class. I do have certain classes where we all are cursing, but if I'm teaching a gun class, let me say this: it depends on the student. Let me say
Okay.
that. It depends on the students. Um, and a lot of that is just meeting people where they are.
Okay. Understood.
So, yeah, I definitely have classes where it's like absolutely no profanity. I probably have certain classes where they would probably be shocked if they knew that I cursed, and then I have other classes where we just cursing. Like this.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a question of whether or not you're interested. It's a question of or whether or not you can keep them interested. It's just a matter of reading the room and meeting them where they are.
Right.
Is what you're saying.
Exactly.
So if you got a new client,
Hmm.
do you curse first or you wait for them to curse?
You know what though? I always wait for the other person to curse.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I, especially women, and for the most part, I won't really curse around women too much unless they just let it go. But
Yeah, I can't.
if they don't just let it go, then I kind of fall back from that. I don't really do that.
Yeah, that's I don't really dig that to hear women curse.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh,
and
you don't like to hear women curse?
no, I don't know. I don't
Um,
like. I
that's,
don't like to hear him curse. I don't want to see him spit. You know what I
okay,
mean?
well, we agree there. There.
I mean, it's the nastiest thing to get out the car, like at the grocery store, and be walking into the store, and a woman just, whoa, you just, I don't even want to go in here anymore.
Make you want to curse at her, don't it?
I ain't gonna front. That is one of those where you was like, that's some nasty, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna front. That definitely happens. That definitely happens. But yeah, I don't particularly dig it. And I guess I'm not gonna judge you right out the gate, but if you cursing like cats be cursing, like it's just too much. It's not necessary. So because mind you, again, this quote just kind of opened up the conversation about profanity. Period. Right. So what do you feel about cursing at your kids?
Listen, I can't tell nobody what to do with their kids. Me personally, I ain't never cursed at mine, and I never will. Like that ain't my thing. Terrell didn't even hear me curse until he heard my music, and that was last year. He was 19 years old the first time he heard me curse.
so why?
Just didn't feel comfortable, doing it around him.
So okay. So not only are you not cursing at him, you're definitely not even cursing in the.
Around him. Mm-mm. Nah,
Okay.
nah. That was never my thing, man. Now as he gets older, things may change. Like for instance, with Bree,
Mm-hmm.
she's 26, and
Mm-hmm.
she's turned 26 yesterday. So that we've had conversations with she curse, I curse, but
Okay.
it's not excessive though. It's not excessive.
Yeah, I don't have the when if Cheeky or Trey curses, they it's like can I speak freely? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna curse. I don't curse at them. Or not excuse me, not at them, but in their presence
Or
or
around them. Yeah.
any of my kids either. I mean, and
Mhm.
that's also like because what I was gonna ask you, kind of as a backup to follow up question to that. If you are like you say, you heard him curse, he heard you curse in your music.
Mhm.
So you listen to music with profanity in his presence.
Um. er, No, but like at this point, I would,
Okay.
but it's man, it's been rare in the past few years that we've been in a place where we're listening to music together. Like the times that we've been in the car, you gotta say he got his car when he was 16.
Right.
So I wasn't going to pick him up to bring him to me anymore. He was driving to me at that point. So we're not,
Right.
and if we went somewhere, we really didn't even have the radio on. We in there talking.
Yeah, understood. Understood.
So we, I don't know, man. It's been a while. And then back when he was too young to drive, no, I wouldn't have music with profanity playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm waiting for the most part. I listen to R&B, and a lot of the R&B that I was listening to was out, especially around him. That the reason that this kid loves 90s R&B so much is because that's what I was always playing
Mm-hmm.
around him. So that's you know, that's what I was playing. So there's no cursing in that, you know.
Okay. Well, I was just curious on what your take on was that. I mean, take was on that because that's one of my rules. I typically, I mean, there's times because was it 1997 when DMX came out?
I think it was 99.
Was it no? By
It was it
99 he
was
had
it was it was 98 or 99.
98 or 99.
Yeah, one of
Okay, well, when Jesus, you know how I was when DMX came out, dude. It was the only CD in my CD player.
yeah, right. Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, Rough
It
Jam.
was 98. 98. You're right. You're right.
I couldn't
Yo,
get that right to save my life.
yo, all we did was quote that album, yo.
Yo,
That was 98 though. That was
that
98.
was that was crazy.
Yeah.
But and then at that point, I only had Trey, right? And
Hmm.
he was in Philly. You know, I'm going up every other weekend, so
Hmm.
there was a pretty good gap between instances when I have him in the car.
Right.
But that was kind of when I started to develop. Like, I don't want to listen to anything where I have to change my music because my kids are in the car.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so I stopped listening to profanity. Well, most of it, because there are some times, like you said, whereas it's some times where I just want to rock out, and I
Hmm.
just think I'm not feeling like being responsible. Um, I mean, it's kind of crazy, but that's where I feel where it's like that's the irresponsible side. Let me turn on some curse words. Yeah, I mean, that's as far gone as I'm pretty much gonna go.
Listen, if that is your irresponsible, then you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm just saying that's as far gone as I think I'm gonna go because I think they get the wrong and you teach them because they're gonna do what you do and they're listening to what you listening to and then when they spit it out and you're looking at them crazy like where did you get that from? And half the time your response is split because on one hand you're like where you get that from? On the other hand, like he actually used that correctly. I mean, that was perfect grammar there. You know what I
Yo,
mean?
I can tell you the first time I cursed.
Okay.
I don't remember,
Okay.
but Ma told me. I, I was probably about 3. I think she
Okay.
said I was about 3 years old. And I said, shit, mommy. And she
Wow.
said, baby, don't say that. That's not a nice word. I said, shit, mommy. She said, baby, mama said, don't say that word. That's not a nice word. I said, shit, shit, shit.
Wow. What happened at this point?
Oh, no. She probably knocked the shit out of me. Oh, no.
Wow.
Oh, no, man. I have
Well,
no idea.
I tell you what, because I do remember the first time that I cursed, and I was like 8 years old, 7 or 8, and I was in my garage. We was at the Fort Riley at the military post, and my father was in the house, and the way the garage, his bedroom window was right above the garage.
Hmm.
Well, he was playing music, and there was a girl in the garage that wouldn't get out my garage, and I told Sue, which was the little girl, to get the F out my garage. And then I left my feet. I never heard the front door open. I never heard the music stop. I told her to get the F out my garage.
Oh, okay. I get why you left your feet. Okay.
And one arm went up, and I left my feet. And we got upstairs. There was 2 stairs to get into the front door that I never touched. There was 13 more stairs to get up to the 2nd floor that I never touched. Somehow he rounded the corner with me at the top of the stairs to go down the hall to his bedroom. And I didn't hit that wall. I don't know how that worked, because I was full on in tow like a flag, right? And goes all now. I don't know why. Why didn't you come downstairs with the belt? I don't know. But he came downstairs, grabs me. Pops used to have a red belt. It was a red velvet belt. I never seen him wear it. It hung in the closet by itself, and it was a weapon. So I told her to get the F out. I left my feet. I landed upstairs in the room. I think I might have landed after the first lick. I didn't. Normally he's like, we get to talk, and he tells me why this has to happen. No, that's the only time I remember ever just getting wow, and no explanation until after the fact. But understandably so, because of course I was a PK. So at this point, it's like, where are you getting this from? You got to be doing this on your own, because I'm not around any of the cursing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I mean, you're in the world, so it's going to be out here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I do remember that first time cursing, and after that, but I just wasn't interested. And my mother used to say, like what you were talking about earlier, that like about it being a limited vocabulary. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. Now, in retrospect, I feel like she said that just to push me to develop a greater vocabulary. You know what I mean? But I just, as I got older, I had very little. I had bouts with the profanity where it was times where I would just let it rip. But I was always very conscious of it. I never been in a space where I cursed so much that I wasn't aware of how much I'm cursing. Because it don't sound natural to me. Really, most of the time. Now, remember back in the day when we used to be like, "If you mean such and such,"
Back in the day,
that was just fun. You know what I mean? It was fun. And speaking of that, because we were talking about the stand-up comedians earlier, you know what? I never really thought about it, but why is it funny? Or why is it funnier? You know what I mean?
You mean when a comic curses?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's funnier when a comic curses or if it's just that the funnier comics curse.
Okay. So I can't say that the funnier comics curse. Because you know who Nate Bargatze is, or Bargatze?
Nope. And if he was that funny, I probably wouldn't know who he is.
Well, he's freaking hilarious. But he doesn't curse at all. And if
you know who Dave Chappelle is?
Huh?
You know who Dave Chappelle is?
I do. 100%.
I bet he's funnier than Nate, whatever you said his name is.
Well, you know what though? I would have to put them. I would have to put them in kind of the same space.
Oh, I need to hear this guy then.
Yeah, I had to put him in because it just because Dave Chappelle, to me, I think he's funny.
Mm-hmm.
but I think he's smarter than he's smart first. Let me say that he's smart first, and then he's funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, so, but I'm trying to think of who else. I guess we can't use Cosby, huh? Because Cosby was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he won't drop no curse words.
Right. But if I have an opportunity to go see Bill Cosby in his prime or
Okay.
Dave Chappelle, I'm going to see Dave Chappelle.
Okay,
But
but
I
not
think Dave
for
Chappelle
curse
is
words.
funny. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I forget I said that because it has nothing to do with the curse words. Dave Chappelle is just funnier.
Yeah, that's
Bill
the thing.
Cosby.
It's
So,
just like
but that
because
goes back to what I
Eddie.
said. It's like the funnier comics just curse.
I mean, well, but that's what I said because I mean, but and you don't necessarily have the degree actually in reference to Nate Bargatze, but he doesn't curse, but he's mad funny. Jim Gaffigan doesn't curse. Well, let me think. I might have heard him say he might have said "damn," maybe or "dick," something like that. Um, maybe, but for the most part, he doesn't curse. And to me, he's freaking hilarious.
Mhm.
Um, but at any rate, I love
Hey,
him.
hold on. Hey, Wally. Hey, are you saying that you said he wants to hear his comedy too? Wally, you talking about this guy Nate Terry? What's his last name again?
I think it's Nate Bargatze or Bargatze.
Bargatze. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the
Yeah.
question?
Nah, Wally B. He was asking. He said he wants to hear his comedy too.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm just
Oh
making
yeah.
sure that that's what he was talking about. So we can get the name. We can get the actual name of this guy.
Yeah. It's Nate Bargatze. Bargatze.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's a
Is he Italian?
he's a comedian.
Is he an Italian comedian? Asshole.
I mean, you walked into it. You knew who you was talking to.
But
um.
like, I just think it's funny if he's Italian and he doesn't curse. Like that's
Oh.
funny to me.
Well, no, I don't know that he's. I don't think he's Italian. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think he's Italian. He
Okay.
let me see. I'm trying to look it up right now. He's a deadpan comic. You know what I mean?
Okay. Hmm.
So it's very very monotone, very
Hmm.
kind of matter of fact type. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But he's freaking hilarious. Ask Quentin, by the way,
Okay.
just to further validate my opinion.
Okay. Okay. And the funny thing is, me and Quint, we typically like the same comedy. I think me and you typically like the same type of comedy as well, too, though.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, you would find the guy funny. Now, would you find him as funny as Chappelle? I don't know.
Mhm.
For me though, I would honestly, if his comic special came out the same day as Dave, I got a choice to make. I don't know.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So, but at any rate, like I said, he doesn't curse and he's hilarious, so it doesn't take that. But I will like, have you ever heard someone where it's obvious that the curse words are forced?
Yes, and they sound like a complete moron. They do. Like it's stupid. It's like you just want to tell them, use better words. Like
Yeah,
this cursing thing isn't for you. Stop it.
yeah.
Doesn't work. It doesn't work for you.
It's funny to hear cats like when I was young to hear cats curse to try to be cool.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, you know what? Not only does that not fit you, that didn't even fit the conversation.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was a completely over exaggerated effort. We really could have did without you. Please get the F away from us. You know what I mean?
One of my favorite things though is listening to older people who it's like they just don't curse right. They just throw the curse words. Like it's like if you don't get the damn shit off the shit, 'cause I'm gonna put the I got the bitch on my knee. Okay, what
But
does that
yo,
mean?
you
Like,
know what though? So actually, when you say that though, you know what it makes me. What I think about earlier, in reference to the statement of curse word being evidence of ignorance or lack of a vocabulary,
mm,
if you intentionally don't curse, it does cause you to think before you speak. You know what I mean?
you know what? Not for me, because cursing for me is an intentional thing. So I actually
Oh.
think before I curse.
Right. So
So
if
it's
cursing,
intentional for me. I
if
don't.
cursing for you was intentional, then not cursing for you, is that not also intentional?
It's. I mean, I can see the point that you're making, and it's a good point. It's a good point. It's, it's a pretty good point.
I'm just
No,
saying.
no, not necessarily.
Okay.
Because,
Okay.
for instance, this entire podcast, every time I've thrown a curse word in there, it's been intentional, but it has not been intentional for me to not curse. We're just having a conversation, so I'm not thinking. It's not that it's intentional for me to not curse. I'm just having a conversation. So every time that I've thrown a curse word in here
Mm.
today, it has been intentional. It's for the purpose. If you notice, I've cursed a lot more in this podcast than I have in any of the other podcasts that we've
True.
done
True.
for a reason, because of this stupid ass quotes
Well, I
from
mean,
this.
but the irony of that, of course, is that you're kind of making a mockery, but you're also proving this point that you think it would be more interesting if you cursed.
No, I'm not making that point. I'm just making it funny.
I think funny falls under the umbrella of interesting. Yeah. I mean, you think it
I
would be
think,
funnier if you cursed.
but it's cool because I'm already holding the umbrella whether I curse or not.
Oh,
So
I didn't get to throw back to the umbrella, and I just made that statement. I didn't follow you. I was like, "What do you? What? Okay, I got you now. I caught up." But yeah, I mean, I think it falls. Still, I think you thinking it would be funnier if you cursed is the same thing as thinking it to be more interesting. 1 second, I gotta get a little cloth so I can clean my glasses because it's killing
yeah.
me. But anyway,
I think so. Okay, I want to go back to the quote. So if you can't be interesting without profanity, then face it. You're just not that interesting.
right.
Um, so if I'm having a conversation with you and I'm having a very, very, very interesting conversation, I've used absolutely no profanity. Let's say I'm telling you a story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've told this extremely interesting story. And
Mm-hmm.
then I get to the end of it and I'm like, the fucking end. Am I no longer interesting?
I would have to say, because first of all, the quote is saying that the person is aware that they need the profanity in order to be cool, interesting, funny, whatever the variation, right? So, um, if you get to that, if you did tell this story and you got to the end and decide to drop an F bomb, is everything that you said up until that point less interesting? I would say no. But am I less interested in what you're going to say from this point forward? Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I said the end. So I'm not saying anything else. I'm done at this point.
In that case, it doesn't matter because if you're done, whether you're interesting or not from that point forward is of no consequence.
Okay, so check this out. So let's say I tell you a very, very interesting story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I come back and I tell you the exact same interesting story, but I just throw a bunch of curse words. Is it less interesting now? Just
Yeah,
because there are curse
especially
words?
because I heard it the first time. That's the real reason I'm not interested. I already heard it. But
Okay, cool. So if I tell you a story that you're going to be interested in, but I throw in curse words, does that make it less interesting?
um it may not make it less interesting, but the quote is saying that the person telling the story would feel that their story is less interesting without the profanity. That's what it's saying. If you can't be interesting without profanity, then face it, you're just not that interesting. You know what I mean?
I
So it's speaking to what we talked about earlier. The cat is cursing just to be you trying to be cool, and for some reason you've deducted that curse words is how you do it.
I think that I'm gonna use the word. I'm gonna use this word again.
Oh boy.
I think that this dude is arrogant.
You think that he's arrogant?
I think this is well, let me say this. I think this is an arrogant state.
Why?
Because who are you to say this about somebody else? Like and like and you know what? I tell you what, I can flip this around and be like, dog, because you don't use profanity, you ain't interesting.
I mean that I don't know what that's really saying. It's not saying the same thing.
No, it's not saying the same thing, but what it is it's me giving my opinion the same way he's giving his opinion. That's all it is an opinion.
Well, that's how everything essentially is, unless you're talking about some science, some form of logic, or something that you're actually going to prove. Everything basically boils down to an opinion or preference or what you actually feel about it. All right, cool. That's just the truth.
And ironically, opinions are like assholes. Like, which, by the way, I hate that saying. It just happened to fit this time.
It didn't happen to fit. You made it fit.
Let's not say fit anymore, an asshole. Like this,
Don't say let's. You. It was you. What? It wasn't
right,
let's.
I'm done.
But I mean I guess because I'm just not a fan. I don't like let me ask a question. What would life be without profanity?
Boring as shit. Um, I don't want to live in that world, yo. I swear, I don't want to live not on Earth. In heaven, okay, that's different. But on Earth,
so okay, so then because I asked the question earlier,
Mhm.
do you need profanity?
No, I don't need it. No,
Well, you
I'm gonna give you the same answer I gave earlier. I prefer it. I
so
don't need it.
well you needed to be entertained because you just said without it it would be boring.
It wouldn't necessarily be boring. I just think that it just
Well,
adds flair.
hold on a second. If you're just going to argue with yourself, then yeah, I mean,
No, I'm not arguing with myself. Like, no, seriously, like it just
you said
adds
it would
something
be
to it.
boring as ish, and then you said, "Nah, I'm not saying it would necessarily be boring."
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Where'd you go?
the first, no, when I said it would be boring and shit, that was just me. I was just talking. I was which is why I forgot that fast that I said that because I was just running my mouth. I was looking for an opportunity to curse. That's what that was. But
You're trying to be more interesting.
I don't have to try.
Apparently, a little bit.
Try. Hold on, brother. Hold on, brother.
A little bit. I think just a little bit. Yeah. And I think, I mean, I really do think people, to some degree, definitely, because like I said, it escalates or elevates the conversation. It don't make me necessarily more interested, but it definitely changes things. You know what I mean? It definitely changes things. But you just like you can hear when somebody is if you're intentionally doing anything, then it's not like it's. And when I say intentionally, excuse me, let me not say that. If you are like if you just blatantly complimenting a woman because you're trying to make it known that you're the complimentary cat, then nobody really appreciates that. You should just be able to just be you without this tactic.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So when it's forced, then it's stupid.
Yeah, and so this is what
Yeah.
this is talking about though. When you if you have to use profanity,
I
if you
don't.
if you and not only and it says interesting, but also I'm gonna take it into another context. If you can't be intimidating without profanity, you're not that intimidating, homie.
Yo. So there's some things that just become more interesting with curse words. For instance, do you realize D'Angelo's song "Shit Damn Motherfucker"? If there was not profanity, that song would be called.
Well,
And
the
that's
end.
stupid. I'm not listening to any song called.
Well, I mean, interestingly enough, he does have a song called.
Yo,
It's
it's called Untitled.
called Untitled. You know what I mean? And it's probably one of his biggest hits, if if not the biggest. So, I mean, I heard what you said, but so it worked out for him. Okay.
Oh man.
But I mean, I have to say, like I say, in anything, if you have to curse to be heard, nobody really wants to hear what you're saying. If you have to curse to be interesting, you're not that interesting.
You
If you
can't
have,
say nobody. You can't say nobody.
huh?
You can't say nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Because I am somebody and I want to hear it. And
So,
it's a
but
whole bunch of somebodies that want to hear it.
if I have to curse to say it, then that's how you. That's the only way for you to hear it is I have
It,
to curse.
it depends on what's being said. Like there are definitely times, yeah. Yeah. Yo, what am I supposed? Yo, tell me this. If I stub my toe, am I supposed to say darn?
I don't know that there's necessarily a supposed to say
I'm supposed to
anything.
say, oh shucks.
I mean, okay. I tell you what. Yeah, how about that?
No. How about
Yeah,
that?
right. See, it didn't matter where I answered that unless I was going to be on your side, right? I mean, but like I don't honestly, which I will say this, it has gone back and forth, but instinctively, 90% of the time, I don't curse if I stub my toe or now I might say, I might start off, son of a Lord have mercy. It's something like that. You know what I mean? But instinctively, I mean, because it isn't really in me just to curse for the sake of cursing.
Well,
You know
it's
what I
in
mean?
my
And
blood.
I'm not judging nobody. That's their business. But
It's in my blood. You remember my daddy. My daddy. I'm telling you.
you know what?
My daddy and my sister.
But you but you still don't curse a lot anyway.
No, I don't. I don't curse a lot.
Excuse me. Now, given we are often in, like, if we're in the space, with the ancestors, which is often where you and I are in the same space at the same time, then
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to be cursing anyway because
Right.
out of respect for our elders. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But if me, you, and Quentin in the car, it's probably going to fly. You know what I mean? But even still, it's kind of censored then because it's just like that ain't our vibe.
Yeah, true. But like you said, I don't curse a lot.
Yeah,
Like like this has been excessive. But again, it's been intentional. The reason I've been doing it throughout this
yes,
podcast,
I
is
know because you've been trying to be more interesting. We're clear. We understand that. You don't have to keep saying that.
I'm not trying to be
Oh, no, that's
interesting.
precisely
I
what.
wake up like that. I wake up interesting as shit.
Hold on a second, because you kind of had your chest out as you quoted Beyonce, which is a little bit of a contradiction. Like, I mean, I know what you're going for, but so anyway,
Yo, do you have any other information on this dude, Michael Hyatt?
um, information as far as
Like,
him
what does
being,
he do? What does he
so
do?
he's
Who is
an
he?
author.
He's an
Um,
author.
yeah, let me see if I can pull that page back up. Where's it at?
Well, I want to know like um what he has done, what he has accomplished, and just
He's
what
written
makes
a
him
book.
interesting. Let me say that. What makes him interesting?
Say it again.
What makes him interesting?
What makes him interesting?
Yeah. Other
So,
than the fact that he doesn't curse.
well, I don't think that he's saying that he doesn't curse. He's saying he doesn't have to be interesting. So, he's got Jesus. What? He's got quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He's got like 15, 20 books here. But like I said, she does like the self help books. He does leadership books. Like one of them is the Vision Driven Leader. Let me see, Mind Your Mindset. Yeah, so ultimately he's an author. That seems to be his biggest claim to fame. Yeah, he also has a podcast called Full Focus Planner.
Mhm.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Full Focus Planner is a whole nother situation. Um, he's got the Double Win podcast. So why you asked though? Somebody else asked, or are you just curious?
No, I was just curious.
Okay. Yeah. But again, like I said, I mean I hadn't really dug in too deep into what he does. I heard the lady curse at a kid because there was the school that Nine used to go to. I used to drop him off in the morning to school, and this woman used to pull up, and I would say 3 out of 5 days, maybe 2 out of 5 days, every week, I would pull up and she would curse this kid out and send him into school full tears, barely even got himself together. His mama done cursed him out. That's how he started his day.
Mm.
His mama done cursed him out. If not, hit him in the chest or something. Like it was the craziest thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it, and I'm just like, and the thing is, she drove a Camaro. Not that I'm judging them, but it's kind of it's a notable thing to see a female in a Camaro. You know what I mean? And she used to look. Me and this other brother be looking, be like, sis, like, what's going on? You know what I mean? And she would just look at us, boom, boom, and pull off. And it was just the worst thing ever, man. This kid, and you just didn't even, because you feel like even if you were to comfort the kid, if he was to even give in to that opportunity, she was gonna wear him out later again. I'm sure.
Mm. Right.
It was horrible, man. But I just haven't. I mean, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, I saw the lady. I was going in the parking lot, and she was telling the child to shut the F up. This child is like 5 years old. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it just made me look for quotes concerning profanity. I didn't find a bunch of them, but this one really was just enough to push open the door and talk about what I wanted to talk about. So, that's really kind of where I was coming from with that. I mean, obviously, I've heard this, like I said, a variation of this before, where it's ignorance or limited vocabulary, whatever the case. But ultimately, like, I don't really have a need for it. I don't really have a use for it. I could do 100% without profanity and live life just fine. Be just as funny, be able to speak just as emphatically or impacting without it. It's just not necessary for me.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyway, there we go. Season 3, episode 1. What are you reading?
I was trying to find my quote for next week.
Oh.
I just realized that I don't have it.
You mean just now in this moment?
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
We just have to, next week.
And I'm mad because I had one, but I don't remember what it was. And I didn't. I thought that I put it in my notes, but I didn't.
That's why I send it to you as soon as I get it.
That's what I need to start doing for real. I should have stole one of yours that you sent me, and that it was
mine. I mean, I let it rock. I wouldn't know, but I sent it to you, one, because that's one way of writing it down. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. But also because now you got it, and I can just go back to the chat or whatever, to the text.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, all right, I'm ready to wrap this up because it is 10:05. Yeah, I got to get up at 3:45 in the morning.
Yeah, and I got to go get started on my insomnia. So
You got to go get started on your insomnia.
Yeah.
That happens every night.
It depends on what I do to combat it, but for the most part, it's getting better as long as I'm treating it. But I mean, I'm so used to it. I've been dealing with it my entire life, yo. My ever since I was a little kid. And the thing is, I'm at the height of my creativity in the middle of the night. So what happens is my brain is like, yo, let's work, let's work. I have an incredible idea. And my body is like, shut your ass up. I just want to rest. And my brain and my body are just not on the same page, man. It's just, I don't know. And then the ADHD too, that just it just the ADHD and the PTSD. So all right, check this out. ADHD, PTSD, creativity at their height in the middle of the night.
PTSD from what? Well, you know what? Hold on. I guess we can talk about that after we wrap, because I'm ready to go ahead and wrap, and I'm gonna give me some rest. But anyway, for those of you that like to curse, enjoy yourself. Curse, rock out. Do you think? For those of you who think you're only interested in what you're cursing, well, that's who this quote is for. So,
hey, Wally, thank you, bro. We appreciate you too, man. We will see you next week.
Yeah, it is. What time is it? Yeah, it's 10:07. It's definitely time to wrap. All right. Well, this has been Quotes and Mirrors. Thank you for tuning in, listening, watching, however it may be. I am Uncommonterry.
And I am Relic. And I hope you enjoyed this shit. And on that note, and I quote, peace out.